Look, we have to be confident about who we are. I think it's better to engage the world on the basis of who we are rather than try and please the world as a pale limitation of what they are. This idea that others define us, that somewhere there we need to get approval of other quarters, I think that's an era we need to put behind us. And definitely I would hope in the next 25 years we will be even more deeply international in terms of our commitments, in terms of our responsibilities, in terms of our role. When we are looking at India at 75, it's not just India at 75, we are also looking at another 25 years ahead. What have we done? Where have we fallen short? What do we want to do? Because those are often the conversations we have when we go out. If I were to pick a single thing we've done, a difference we've made to the world in the last 75 years, it is the fact that we are a democracy. If today there's a sense in the world that, for all the ups and downs of history, what's happening in different geographies, but somehow in all of us there is that gut sense that democracy is in some form the future. A large part of it is due to the choices that India made and choices that India stuck with in very difficult situations. And there was a time when in this part of the world we were pretty much the only democracy. So if democracy is global today, or we see it as global today, I think in some measure that credit is due to India. Now, it's also fair when we look back at 75 years, we should reflect on where we have come up short. And I would say the 2-3 areas which are quite obvious. One, clearly we didn't pay the kind of attention to our social indicators, our human resources, as we should have. 2, we didn't concentrate as much on manufacturing and technology strengths as we should have. And 3, in terms of foreign policy, probably in the mix of various elements, we didn't give as much importance, as much weight to hard security as we should have. And I say this because, this is not a polemical criticism of the past. Other countries who were in similar situations did exactly this, and which is one of the reasons why some of them are today ahead. It is something we are trying to do now. I mean, these are exactly the areas we are trying to correct at this point of time. So it's not that it can't be done. It is being done even as we speak. So what is it I think we should be doing in the future? One, I would say most of all, to me, the next 25 years is about capability, capability, and capability in every possible domain, in every possible way. We should be completely fixated on outcomes. We should be utterly practical about how we leverage the international environment. So a lot of the conversations which we have when we go abroad is about capability building. The second is, and that goes back to some remarks you made about how we are perceived. Look, we have to be confident about who we are. I think it's better to engage the world on the basis of who we are rather than try and please the world as a pale limitation of what they are. This idea that others define us, that somewhere there we need to get approval of other quarters, I think that's an era we need to put behind us. And definitely I would hope in the next 25 years we will be even more deeply international in terms of our commitments, in terms of our responsibilities, in terms of our role than we are. And since you are asking me, so all these conversations, say something which is of interest. I must say my morning was made today by meeting a fellow foreign minister who told me that Gujarat is ahead of globalization. Actually he said Gujarat doesn't need globalization, they're already out there. I think in a way I would hope in the next 25 years India too is actually at the forefront of a kind of a right kind of globalization, more decentralized, more fair, more, one which works for everybody, and one which is not leveraged, which is not weaponized. I think I'll tell you what we should not be doing. We shouldn't be looking at the world with a sense of entitlement. We need to earn our place in the world, and which to a certain extent would therefore come to the issue of how does the world benefit by the growth of India. We need to demonstrate that. I think today, when there's a lot of talk about reliable, resilient supply chains, when people speak about transparency and trusted technologies, if India could do more and show the rest of the world that the world benefits by India being bigger, so we need to develop stakes in our future where the rest of the world is concerned. I think some of that is happening. Some of that is happening for strategic reasons, obviously, but we need to make more of it happen, especially for economic reasons.